All right, it's your boy Fanon. We've got some unfortunate development in the welterweight division as, surprise, surprise, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom can't get a fight for Jaron Ennis. As Eddie Hearn complains that Brian Norman Jr., the WBO welterweight world champion, turned down an offer of over $1.5 million. Did you think he was going to do anything else? And whose fault exactly is that, Mr. Hearn? Let's talk about how the more things change, the more they stay the same. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and one of my favorite fighters in the sport is Jaron Boots Ennis. Been following Jaron Ennis for a while, like years now. Think he's an exceptional fighter. I think most people that have followed him are in agreement about that, but he can't get a fight. Can't get a good fight to save his life. And as one seemed to present itself, as everything was set up for him to get these fights, another one falls through. And that one is the one with Brian Norman Jr. right after another fight had fallen through. And that was for Cody Crowley. And other fights fell through, unable to get fights with Terrence Crawford. And it appears now that Jaron Ennis might actually be forced to move up in weight to 154 pounds. Now, why do I say the more things change, the more they stay the same? Jaron Ennis displays what's wrong with boxing. One of the things that's wrong with boxing. And I know some people are going to say, man, you really do harp too much on the treatment of the PBC in boxing. But I have to, because so many people criticize their model, and then people come from outside the United States, try to come to the United States to make a variation of that model work. But it's a bad model when it's Al Heyman, and it works. But it's a bad model. But it's a good model for Eddie Hearn and Turkey Al-Sheikh, even though it not working. And what is that? Blowing up these people's brains about how much money they should be making. Quote unquote, overpaying fighters. Now, think about it. When Eddie Hearn came into the United States, what was his thing? Hey, we've got a $2 billion from DAZN, and we're going to be able to get all the PBC's fighters by paying them all this money, paying them all this money, paying them all this money. Turkey Al-Sheikh comes in, and Turkey Al-Sheikh says, we're going to take over the world. Why? Because I got so much money. I can pay these fighters so much money, right? And he pays all those fighters all that money. Now, Al Heyman paid fighters a lot of money, but how did he do it? He paid it by cutting out a lot of the costs associated with people that were making money that should have been going to the fighters, therefore blowing up the amount of money made for the fighters out of existing money, not going into a loss, right? But saying, okay, we can figure out this situation where we can funnel more of the available money from the boxing match ecosystem to the fighter versus pumping in a bunch of cash from who knows where that is not related to actually selling the event, but just creating an atmosphere where people think it's big. It's so crazy that when I have conversations with people about big fights, the definition is changed. It's a big fight if it's a fight that they want to see. That makes it a big fight. No. A big fight means that there's a lot of people wanting to buy the fight. A big time movie is they sold a lot of tickets. A huge album is when they sold a lot of copies or streaming units or whatever they do now. Only in boxing is it a big fight when based off how much money somebody's losing. Oh, it's a huge fight. Look at how much money they lost. So anyway, now you got fighters that have these ideas that when they go into a ring for a championship fight, hey, man, I want $5 million for it. It also doesn't help that boxers themselves are out here running around lying about how much money they're making. So other fighters don't know the truth or not because they're not running around calling to the fighters that who they lied to when they said they were making $10-15 million and these chains around their necks are real and not rented. Right? They ain't going to go tell these other people that that's not the amount of money they're making. So the people looking at them are thinking, oh, man, they're making all that money. It's my time. Hey, why aren't you paying me as much money as you were paying them? Right now, what do you have? You have Eddie Hearn talking about Brian Norman turning down $1.5 million. But why would he turn down $1.5 million? Probably because he thinks Devin Haney, when he was the WBC world champion at lightweight, was making the $10 million that he said he was making. So now you offer him the same amount of money that Devin was probably really making. And they may think, oh, that's not enough. Why are you doing me different than he's doing? No, we're going to hold off. We're going to wait till the big checks come. You know, the big checks from people that are losing money on fights. Yeah, because, I'm going to listen to YouTube channels and say this guy's got money to spend forever and ever and ever and ever. It's a $1.5 million offer. Over $1.5 million offer from Eddie Hearn to Brian Norman for a world championship fight. Brian Norman is a kid that does not, I don't even think, if Brian got around 20 fights, Brian Norman has probably never made $300,000 in a fight in his career yet. 1.5? No, you got to give me some more. Who else did that? Frank Martin did it with Shakur. When Bob Arum offered him what he thought was fair for the fight, Frank and his whole team thought was fair for the fight, he said, oh, no. Now he winds up working out for Frank Martin because Frank Martin ultimately gets the Gervonta Davis fight. But it is another instance of, hey, oh no, these are guys that, I like them a lot as fighters, know who they are as fighters. I pay for watch all their fights, would pay their pay-per-view fights. But Frank Martin ain't no big superstar, and neither is Brian Norman. But they are asking for the same pay that Devin Haney was getting. And feeling like, hey, man, that's what I deserve. And why is it what I deserve? It's what I deserve because it's what other people are getting. And why are they getting it? Because you got people coming in trying to fake like they're making a bunch of money and trying to manipulate the market up until a point in time where they can then switch up their business model and then start making it profitable after their cost games or money games has run everybody else out. More than likely, that's not going to happen, though, because Turki Al-Sheikh is up against organizations that are really into, making a profit. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.